Hello, everyone. A lot of friends, colleagues, coworkers ask me what I like to do in my free time, and I took up digital combat simulator during the pandemic, and I've just kind of gone full hog into it. I'm going to just quickly run through probably the F-18 module, maybe on one of the Hoggit servers. Hoggit is a community of individuals that run some free servers out there. They do take donations, but they're really well done. It's a player versus environment. So in this case, there's 29 players. It's been running for 3 hours. They reboot their servers about every 4 hours, so there's only about another hour left into that one. But I'm going to go ahead and join it and just kind of show you what my workflow is when I go to play one of these games. Simulators, call it what you will. My call sign in here is Thistledown, but I have a Mando11 tag on here. There's an Overlord bot that requires your name in a certain format in order to kind of use the AI. So it's Mando11 Thistledown. A GCI will probably just see Mando11 on their display. What I typically do is I jump in, give it a moment to load, go to the briefing, go to fly, hit the F10 map, and on this particular server, it's kind of nice, player versus environment. You're not going to get this on a player versus player server, but you can see where the action is. And so there's MiG-26, Su-27. Here's friendlies. There's actually a AIM-54. You can actually F6 and follow it. Maybe, yeah, looks like it's going to hit. No, the plane went down way over there. But yeah, it's kind of cool. You can F6, go through people's bomb drops. You can F2, and these are all the players on right now. F16 with 4 GBUs. A-50. F16 with a couple Mavericks. F14. Looks like it just took off. Eventually, this will get you through even enemy planes. But I digress. So, a lot of times what I'll do is see what is needed. Is it combat air patrol? There's a lot of fighters that need to be taken out, or are there emplacements like this emplacement? Looks like it's a armored column, and maybe we'll just go take that out for the moment because it's not too far from the carrier. So, I'm kind of noting roughly where it is, right? There's these bodies of water, and then it's somewhere down here. And then you'll see in a moment when I select a role, and I'm going to sort by unit type, and in this case I'll choose an F-18, and then we'll go off of the Roosevelt. Now, a lot of times, especially F-18, it's a very popular airframe. A lot of times these slots will get all taken out, so people have Patreons, and they'll give 10 or 20 bucks a month to Hoggit to support them. Now, I play on this server a lot, so I actually do have a slot I can always get into if there's a free slot on the server. So I'll just go ahead and use that so it frees up. I'm going to center my track IR, which is what I use for head tracking. And here we are, the F-18. Looks like default it's the Blue Angel scheme, but I'm going to go ahead and change that to maybe something else. I tend to like the eagle on the side here, but yeah, what's kind of cool is if you go to the F2 view, you can go through and go through, all of the permutations. In this case, since we're going after some targets, I'll probably, what do I want to take today? Maybe, so I can either take, GBUs or, really let me get here so it's a little quieter here. What I think I'll take is GBUs, so I can just kind of like select drop and forget so I don't have to laze the target. So typically what I would do is you would take sidewinders on the wingtips, and then this right cheek, which is 4, is going to be a lightning pod. That's a targeting pod. Center is going to be fuel tank, and then the left cheek is going to be an AIM-120C radar guided missile, and then you would take bombs on the other stations or extra fuel tanks or even missiles. In this case, there's a ton of different bombs. These are cluster munitions, these are dumb bombs, some of these are high drag bombs. These GBU 10, 12, 16, 24 are laser guided. And then these GBU-31s are, and I think even the 31s, I think these are all GPS and laser guided, and then there's the GBU-38s. I probably will take the GBU-38s, so let's just take a bunch of GBU-38s. So in this case, what I'm doing is taking the BRU-33 is the 55 is a mount, basically a mount point for the bombs, and so it holds 2 GBU-38s. So I'll take, it's a lot of bombs. That's 8 bombs. I've got to make sure, did I actually take the right bomb? GBU-38s. All GBU-38s, okay, and here's gives me my total weight. I'm underweight, full fuel, full ammo, and this is the maximum flares and chaffs. You can change. You can't have more than 90. I'm just going to take the default.
Request rearming.
Now my workflow is while it's rearming, you really want to be rearmed fully before you try to get your INS, calibrate your inertial guidance system, your inertial navigation system. So let me just walk you through my workflow real quick. So I'm going to do this a little slower than normal, but not slow at all, and I'm not going to follow the NATOPS manual. At the end of the day, this is a game. It's a simulator. I'm not going to do bit tests. I don't have a wingman. There's no human GCI, right? That the realism stops at a certain level, right? So I'm going to arm my injection seat, turn on the battery, and I'm going to turn on the APU, and then close the canopy on the right here. Now, the APU is what's used. It's like a mini jet engine that's used to start the big jet engines. As soon as this light goes green, I'm going to crank engine right, and then we'll see the engine RPMs crank up over here when it hits about 22, 23, 25. I'm going to uncage the throttle, and I'm using shift home. I don't have any bind for that.
Traffic, Chevy 11, turning now, final for 22, Grimsk.
I have SRS simple radio service, which lets me hear the other players in this game. Alright, that's started. Crank left. While the left one's cranking, I turn on my MFDs today.
Grimsk traffic, Chevy 11, going around.
Flight control.
Let's turn that off for now. I can't yet. Let's see. There we go. So I'll turn on my MFDs, the HUD on my MFD. I turn on the ALR67, that's the RWR system, ECM to standby, dispenser on. Stop the bit tests, and I'll go to the FCS. And then I usually will uncage the standby attitude indicator. And then after that, I will uncage the left one. As that's spinning up, I will set my radar altimeter to, about 80 or so. That's what this is. Lead. We'll fix that right now. Usually fix that later. Lead air. I just spin it around. Radar standby. INS to CV because we're on a carrier and stored heading. And then this will work on If you don't use stored heading, it'll take like 8 or 9 minutes. If you use stored heading, it only takes 1 or 2. And then since I have a FLIR module, put it on standby. That's the on my cheek station, the targeting module. OBOGs is oxygen, very important. You will black out in this simulator if you go above, 20,000 feet. RWR here, this is like one of the most important knobs in the entire game, because by default it's this, and it's too loud, it drives you crazy, so I've turned it down. Reset the FCS twice. Rudder trim, which is takeoff trim, it's for the press in, and then lights, flaps to half, and then I will set my bingo to 4,000. I have 12,940 pounds right now, and I set it to 4,000. IFF on, HACAN on, and we're actually carrier 71, and then the data link on. And then I'll turn this map off. You can see the countdown here. That's all we're waiting on. Meanwhile, F10 map. Whoops, F10 map. You can see this is it right here. BAI Badger 05. That's exactly the mission I want. Here's the bodies of water. This is the BAI mission. I'm gonna go hit the / key, go to other in this upper right, get current missions, and I'm gonna get a let's see, BAI is strike mission maybe. Nope, it's not a strike mission. I'm just looking for the name. Air interdiction maybe. Badger 05 armor column. So now I'm going to go down here and go to data. Now there's a ton of waypoints that are already pre-entered. So I'm going to go to one that is free, like waypoint 10. UFC goes to the upfront display and go to position. And then I'm going to look on this Badger 05. So position is 2 for north, and it's 44, 28, 52. Enter, and then east is 38, 18, 09, enter, 44, 28, 0.52, 38, 18, 09. Now this is important. I'm not going to worry about it right now in this plane because these numbers match. This is degrees, minutes, decimal minutes, but some planes want you to put in degrees, minutes, seconds. If that's the case, you got to do the math, right? The decimal times 60, like 0.52 times 60, and you'll get the actual seconds. F-18 though is taking exactly what I need off of there. It's glowing a little bit. Let's reduce that brightness. Okay. If I go back to the HSI, this says qualities 0.5. Okay. I can switch my INS to IFA, flight alignment, which is what you need to be on. And we're good to go. The only other thing I need to do is, I think if you go Alt-B, you can get the briefing. And in this particular case, you can see like traffic. Carrier traffic is 127.5. So what you really want to do is have something on 127.5. And I'm going through and looking to see if there is one. There is one. You can do it manually at 8. So you've got to take the wheel chocks off the ground crew.
Chief, remove the wheel chocks.
Off the parking brake.
BRC, copy. Signal is Charlie.
Wheel chocks are now removed.
And then
710.
steering high. And then Roosevelt traffic, Mando 11 taxiing to Cat 1. Roosevelt. Master caution's coming on because my wings are up. That's okay. Other thing I like to do is go to stores and just go to the bombs because it takes them several minutes to align. So I'll just let those run as well. Meanwhile, we'll taxi up here. Nice. This is a super carrier module, which is cool because it actually has virtual humans. They'll direct you. Makes it a little easier. He's telling me to stop. He's going to tell me to extend my wings, so I'm going to extend my wings and lock them in. Wings are going down. Next thing he's going to tell me is to lower my launch bar. And my launch bar is right over here. extend, and I'm going to go to the external view here. You'll see it's cool. You know, the guy he'll put the launch bar on. It might even slightly align you because, again, it's a simulator, and then he'll wave at you from the side. Put some power in, just enough to catch, tell you to stop, and then the shuttle actually gets locked in. You're good to go. Good to take off. He tells us to raise the launch bar.
710. Count
Raise
ball.
it.
7.9.
I'm going to look at him, and I'm going to weapons designate so it comes up on my HUD. Spool up. What did I didn't do everything on. This was my, just checking. Let's go to EW. Normally you would want to go to HUD. Spool up, and there's a button to tell him to salute. You salute at him, and I go a full afterburner. And then off we go. Gear up. Gear's going up. Flaps up. And I'm going to pull back on the power so we don't burn through our other fuel. Oh, radar's not operational. That's why. It's like, why is master caution coming on? We're going to come over to this diamond up here because this is where the target is. Now, after you take off in the F-18, your chaff and flares, the ALE-47's on standby. You actually have to go to mode and turn it to something. I always turn it to manual 1, click on it, and go to ARM. And it'll do one chaff, one flare 10 times, 1 second apart. But I typically like changing my chaff to 3, my flares to 1, and the repeat cycle to only 3. And save it, return. Still turning. Actually, yeah, okay, we can go higher here. And then we'll go back to stores. And then what is going on here? There we go. Where is it? All right, so easy things to do now. Now it's the autopilot. This heading little thing bug here. There's a little heading bug down here. This heading will go kind of left and right, move it around. But if you use it a little bit, you can go to heading select on the autopilot and say like 31. Enter autopilot heading select. I'm just making it easy on me since I'm talking. I like to climb so that my speed's about 350. So we're going to climb. Meanwhile, while we're climbing, I'm going to change all of these modes to this is pre-planned mode. I got to change them to target of opportunity, and then E-fuse to instant. That'll actually change the E-fuse to instant for all of them. If you don't set your E-fuse, bombs won't blow up. But I do have to step through and change each one of these to target of opportunity. And then what I like to do is validate that this one is the one that's going to be the first to drop, because what will happen is it'll drop and then you're going to be unbalanced, and then it's going to click over to this one, and then you can drop and then drop and then drop, and so you'll stay balanced one way or the other, but you're probably better off dropping from the exterior pylons first. Next thing that we're not doing right now is I'm going to go ahead and master arm on, go to air to ground mode, air to air, turn this to TWS mode, and 80 miles. So the nice thing about this now that I have the radar going is I can see if there's some enemies coming my way. We're 42 miles out. Oops, and I'm getting a little slow. Go down. Turn my FLIR to on, and at about 40 miles you can start designating targets. And so let's do that. This FLIR button, or FLIR, and then we'll go to narrow and zoom in. Now the thing about it is, see how it's moving? Because the coordinates of the target are are near that, because it's just a center point, right? The targets themselves, actually sensor select, right? So I can move it. Like there's one right here. Nope, it's a tree. But there's hills, so it's probably underneath a hill or something. A little slow. Looks like a man pad. It is a man pad. Alright, we can bomb him. Poor guy. Let's look for other targets here. Now there is a way to do a mark point and come back to it. I actually haven't played with mark points. It's something that came out a month or two ago, but I haven't really used it in the F-18 yet, so what I should be doing is making a mark point and then coming back to it. I'm just going to have to kind of remember where he is, maybe. There's another one. Alright, well, we're going to be in range in 2 minutes. Did I lose him already? See, there's a tank right here. Now I'm high enough where a man pad isn't going to get me. Maybe infrared here will make the guy show up better, but here he is. But yeah, let's bomb him. So I'm going to select the target. And then as soon as I'm within range, in 1 minute, 20 seconds, drop one of these. Other thing to look at is fuel. So in the real world, they probably wouldn't drop their center tanks. But this is a simulator. You wouldn't probably drop your center tank unless you're in battle. I'm going to go ahead and drop it. My fuel is finished using the external tank. So center select, jettison stores, and there it goes. Center tank jettison. Back to safe. 30 seconds. And we'll pick these other targets. So we'll see one of these drop first. Let's go ahead. This is a barometric altitude hold. Just occurred to me what I didn't do. It's in range, in zone. So I'm going to drop. You'll see a drop. There it goes. One thing I didn't do is I didn't change to radar altimeter when I was taking off, which is what I should have done. Another one, drop. It's in the zone. It's 2. Another one. 3. 4. It's a crater. It looks like somebody destroyed those already. Drop this one as well, maybe in zone 5. I feel like I'm missing. Let's go back to wide view. Alright, we're going to have to circle or something here. Oops, can't circle with heading select on. So there's a couple things we can do. Now, our pod is on the left cheek, and I'm going right. And the problem with that, of course, is I'm not going to be able to follow bombs that I hit in, and I've already kind of gone off of it. It's going to be hard to see where they hit. So normally what you could do is follow it in, but you can also follow your own bombs in like this. with the F6 key. Gotta get onto your bomb though. I don't actually know if these are my bombs. It is, because there's the man pad. Okay. Now you can see all the stuff I'm destroying on the right as it pops up. It's kind of nice. Again, in the simulator, in the real world, you need to either watch it on the targeting pod. Looks like this is going to something that might already be destroyed. No, it's not. So, other thing you can do is turn on the HMD. This is really useful. There's the target right over there. It's easy to see where you need to get back to. You can also slew it. So I'm going to go to the infrared mode here and see what I can see. I might want to go, and actually look, this is the airframe. The airframe of the plane is about to block it. Let's go back to the center of basically resetting where the target's looking. Bingo, there's one. Because I still have 3 bombs left. Now these are GPS INS guided bombs. So once you set the target, little GPS, the bomb itself is what's guiding it. That's different than the dumb bombs, which is basically ballistic in nature, and the jet is calculating the trajectory so you drop in the right place. And then there's the laser guided, where you can actually use this pod, which will fire a laser with a code you can designate, and then drop the bomb using laser guidance. That works really well for moving targets. These GPS guided bombs will only work for static targets. Looks like this is going to be covered by a hill. Let me see if I can speed over there a little better. Oh, no, that was it. There's one here, too. One here, so here's the rest of our 3 bombs. Right. It's in the zone, so I'm going to drop. Pickle. Pickle's the brevity code to drop a bomb. There's another one. Pickle. And that looks like a radar installation. Pickle. For this one, I'm going to leave it on the hammer here, the targeting pod. Oh, actually, look, that one is already destroyed. That one is not. But I'll leave it on the targeting pod so we can watch the explosion from the plane. Turn that down a little bit more to make 29. So what you can do, since the targeting pod's on the left cheek of the plane, you can kind of make a right, and then you can make a left, and you'll keep the targeting pod or your target in the frame. Oh, maybe I ran out of bombs before I got to that one because this one hit. Oh, there it goes. I might have just missed it. So again, one of the challenges with this GPS guided bomb, you really want to put the targeting reticle at the base of what you're flying towards, because at the end of the day, you're picking a point on the ground, and that was an unfortunate case where I actually missed. All right, now that I have no weapons left, I've got one AIM 120 and then 578 rounds, so I could do air-to-air, and I could use radar. But with one missile, if there's two enemies, I'll just let's take a quick look here. I don't know if there's anybody this close. Let's go to 80 miles. These are probably a friendly. Yeah, those are all friendlies. There's one. Oh, he's close. All right, let's try him. Afterburner's on, and that's actually him. This is the targeting pod using the radar to look at the plane, which is pretty cool. Now, on the right here, he's actually within range right now, but he's in extreme range. If he maneuvers too much, like this little bar right here is no escape range. If he maneuvers, he'll escape. So what I'm going to do, I like to get him about halfway, and then Fox 3. And then we're going to turn away here before he fires at me. Now, it's going to go active. It's Pitbull now. Oh, I lost him. But it's active, though. Wait, is it active? I got to get out of here. I'm in a bad place. Oh, I did. I hit him. J11. Destroyed. Yeah, I thought I said go Pitbull. Alright, let's turn off the Sidewinders. Let's turn off the HMD. Now we're going to go back to the carrier. So TACAN. Actually, what I like to do is move the HSI up here so I don't have to constantly look down. Oh, let's turn the afterburner off too. So with TACAN, you can see it's within 40 miles. So what I need to do is the scale's 40 miles. I need to call out to the carrier, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to say use COM2 ATC Roosevelt inbound.
Marshall 667. Marking Mops 049 60. Angels 15.5. State 8.5.
Case 1 recovery, expected BRC 258, report see me at 10.
258. So I'm going to set the course. Course select 258, enter. Now I'm going to tell her see her at 10 with her in 10 miles, and actually we're 50 miles out here. This is just on the edge because it's further than 40 miles. I can change the scale and actually see that. So I do know it's in this direction. So we're 10,000 feet, going 477 knots. Actually, probably don't need to be descending at that rate. Still got 8,000 pounds of fuel, which is a ton of fuel, but I have no weapons. So we're going to go to. I'm just going to silence this for now. Hopefully we don't get destroyed. I'm going to go to the checklist here. Now, I've landed a ton of times. And actually you can see I'm not actually touching the stick. We're rolling to the left. The reason...
667.
Oops.
See you at 10.
It's fine. The reason is we're off balance. There is a cheek station that
8.1.
is waiting us. I'm just going to fix our trim. Alright, so the landing checklist.
Altitude.
This is altitude. It wants you to, you got to watch your altitude because we're below 5,000. We're going to go to radar altimeter. Now it's R. It's using the radar altimeter. Bouncing off the water, and actually I think it went trim too much right. So one left. Look at that. I'm so busy talking, I never even turned on my ECM, which I don't think works in the F-18 and DCS. But normally you would change this to like transmit. We're going to put it to standby because we're coming in for a landing, and the dispenser is going to be off. Which it says here. So normally you want to check for your wheels down, flaps down, hook down, anti-skid for the carrier needs to be off. But if you're landing on a runway on land, it needs to be on. Harness, this is forward, and then the dispenser. So you can see it's right here. This course line is going to be the course line that we're going to come into land, but we actually have to make a circuit around the carrier first. So we're going to do that. Another interesting note is we can actually drop all these racks. We'll do for fun here. It's not dropping the racks. Oh, master arm has to be on. And the racks are dropped. I'm going to tell you right now, I can land on the carrier. It's hard, especially without feeling any kind of G-forces or anything. Takes a lot of practice. I don't do it very well. I can do it consistently. And when I say I don't do it very well, there's a specific way. I think you come in at 800 feet over the deck or next to the carrier. You know, you come in, you drop to 600, and then you come around and that part I don't do. I can do it obviously because I can land, but I don't do it well, and so I'm always either too high or too low. I'm basically doing some sort of awkward way to get to the deck. Here's the carrier right here. So we're going to kind of come in behind it a bit. And then normally in the real world they would follow a radial in and marshal, and they would marshal over the carrier and be circling around the carrier until they were given clearance. It'll say like signal is Charlie, which they're going to tell me anyway. And then they would come down and then go past the carrier and then circle around, go down, and then land. There's just not enough traffic in the simulator here, and I just don't know the workflow well enough, and there's not real radar controllers, right? It's all AI. So make do with what I can as I'm learning. Normally you want to come down mission. So the Hoggit servers restart every 4 hours, so we've got 20 minutes to attempt carrier landings. They do that because of all their little custom scripts and whatnot, and to keep stability up, so they reboot every 4 hours. The nice thing is they'll switch from morning to afternoon to evening, and so the sun will go across the sky and it'll get brighter and dimmer, and even into night with darkness and needing night vision goggles. Did she tell me signal is Charlie?
6,
Oh,
6, 7.
yep.
Abort inbound, resuming mission.
7.1. Marshall
my
667.
mistake.
Marking Mops 06942. Angels 1. State 7.1.
Down.
C258.
667. See you at 10.
So what you're doing is making sure
667. Mother's weather is visibility.
deck is
10
clear.
plus
Clean
5.
deck.
Clear. Altimeter is 3017. Case 1 recovery. Expected DRC 258. Report see me at 10.
They haven't actually cleared me technically.
Six, 7. See you at 10.
Ciao.
667. State 7.0.
The wheels down. Oops. flaps down yet. Might need to go around again. Actually, let's go around again. Unless they tell me signal is Charlie. You gotta be close enough to the carrier for them to. That was my mistake because the tower queue seemed to be coming late. Now it's not giving it to me at all. What's the deal here? Alright, well, forget the cues. Normally what you would do is you would signal kiss off, flight kiss off to make the turn. But what I'm going to do, normally I'd be going a little faster. So power down, try to stay level, at 250, wheels down. Wheels are coming down. 225, flaps 1, and then at 200, flaps full. And then let's go, this can go to 5, and then basically we line up here, makes it super easy. Now we're lined. Now, this E bracket, I want to trim up. So I'm trimming it so that that's my angle of attack for landing. So I'm going to come in and call the ball, and I don't know what's going to happen here. I know I'll catch a wire at least. So I've got wing down, flaps down, gear down. I am tilting to the right. So I'm trying to trim that out. Because at this point, it's not about pulling the stick back to go up and down. That's throttle control. Now, when you see the back of the ship, which I do, that's when it's time to turn in. But at this point, I should probably be about 600 feet, not 800 feet. So I'm going to turn in, try to descend a bit more. All my descending, I'm only using the stick for left and right. Up and down is entirely throttle at this point. And when I see the ball, I'll call the ball. The F-18's throttle is slow to respond, and some jets are better than others. Call the ball.
667. Hornet ball. 6.5.
That one.
Roger ball. You're a little low.
Yeah, see the ball coming up. Now I'm too high. It's because I added to. Now I'm actually using stick. Let's slow down here. Speed brake.
You're a little fast.
Yep, I know, I'm too fast. Oops, this is
Wave off, wave off.
go around. As I said, it's hard. That was a really poor attempt. I'm trying to talk and do this all at the same time. Let's try this again here. Maybe less talking, more flying. Try to get back up to 800 or 600 feet anyway. And again, I should only be controlling at this point my my altitude with throttle, but you have to kind of get ahead of it because the throttle response, it takes a moment for the engines to spool up and to spool down. So you just got to be ahead of it. Now, one thing you can do is go a little further back so it's easier to line up. I tend to do that. I probably turned in too early only because I'm not good at doing the lineup at the final seconds. Let's try this. So best case is you turn in and you want to go a little bit down, but not too much down. You normally will need to add throttle to turn because the tendency is going to be to lose altitude. The question is losing, or the challenge is losing at the proper rate. That's where I struggle. See, I think I'm too low now. No, I'm too low now. So now we'll try to, see, I didn't lose enough throttle. I don't lose too much throttle. Should be good though. I can come right a little bit. I know. Alright, and then we're going to put this.
Wave off.
Not waving off. I'm putting this on the deck. Oh, I'm not putting it on the deck. Let's try. I know I don't have an audience while I'm doing this, but I feel like I have an audience. So it's making it hard. What's interesting is I actually find it easier to land the F-14 on the carrier than the F-18. But normally I can land the F-18 9 times out of 10. But the F-14, being a much bigger plane, has a lot of stability. And so I find it much easier to land on the carrier. Give myself a bit more time this time.
Roger that. Transporting security forces to the target location.
Especially since the server is going to reboot here. Probably 10 minutes. Alright, I'm way behind now. Now, normally what I would do if the server weren't rebooting is I would come in, rearm, refuel, and then another target, take back off. I'm pulling power back as I'm pulling out of this. Now I do need to come up, but not that much. It's going to go down. Gonna go right a little bit, adding power. You can see I'm way dropping now. I'm gonna let the ball come back down. And the blinking light when it goes yellow is when I'm technically lined up right, and there's the ball. Little low, little low, little low.
You're drifting right.
I know.
You're a little low. A little to left. Power.
There we go. Military power, but out the hook. Next is hook up. Wings up. And clear the deck for the next person who's landing. What's going on here? There we go. And I'm clear. Now, normally what you want to do is you don't have to worry about running these guys over because they don't exist. I mean, they do and they don't. They won't move out of your way. So best case is park, put on the parking brake, and then you can rearm, refuel. You have to put your fuel up. You have to put your flares back. If you use guns, you got to put your guns back. Choose your loadout. Click OK.
Request refueling.
And you'll see the fuel
Request rearming.
start popping up.
Copy.
And there it goes. You actually have to wait for this to get to about 10,000, whatever, 900, and then it'll start loading everything else. Yep, that's the F-18. It's a fun plane. I'd say for a starter module, it's one of the easier ones. The flight model is very forgiving. It's very fly-by-wire. F-14, it's a bit more of a wrestling match to fly that one, although I love flying that plane. It's fun. F-16 is also a lot of fun. The nice thing about the F-18 is you can kind of crash it into the ground with the as you land it. The gear can you don't have to flare it or anything like that. It's designed to hit a carrier deck. But yeah, this is a fun plane. Hope you enjoyed that.